Okay, I'm back. This is about the pressure washer. And this is a part that I sent for the pressure washer. So we're having a little open the package, beginning of my next phase of the pressure washer repair. As you can see, I ordered this from Amazon, and it's a carburetor, and it's a replacement carburetor for the pressure washer. It's cheaper to buy a replacement carburetor than it is to try to take apart a carburetor and try to repair it. Because if it's a piece of something stuck in a jet somewhere, you're not going to be able to get it out of there. So these are the gaskets I need. They have they have an O-ring here for the seal on one side of the carburetor and two gaskets for the other side, depending on what model of filter you have. So that's why there's two gaskets. So choose one of those. It's going to be the longer one, more than this weird shaped one, I think. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, and here's the carburetor, and it comes with most of the moving parts that you need. I'll have to figure out where this one goes. I'm not sure where it goes. Oh, maybe it's there. Yeah, like that. Alright, so we'll get to go put this on and see what happens. Oh, it looks like the two gaskets, one is this side and the other one is this side, and this is the filter side. So we'll have to compare this to the one that's on the pressure washer. Alright, let's get outside and see what that looks like. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cover, this top portion off with the pull cord on it. Got that all loosened up, ready to take off. Sit that down. Alright, then I'm going to take off this filter, air intake filter holder. That's these two screws down in here. Let's see what I got for tool size. That looks like the right size there. And along with that, we've got the kill switch. We've got to disconnect that. Got fuel release, fuel intake or depressurizing tube that's on here. I'm not sure what the technical term of that is, but that just unclips off of there. I think I'm going to leave the switch connected. I'm not going to disconnect it. I'll just put it down here like that. Oh. I gotta get the new carburetor, so hang on a second. Alright, here we go. Okay, I got the new carburetor here. Right now, let's see if I got the tool for, where's the tool at for the carburetor? Alright, hold on a minute. Okay, got the tool for moving the carburetor. We have some linkage to remove. A couple springs to disconnect. One spring to disconnect. It looks like I can do it with just one spring. So let me take that spring off. So that spring's off. Let's take that completely off of there so it doesn't get lost. Okay. And we have this linkage to take off. I think this will just pop off of here. That should just pop off of there. There it is. Okay. So that's that linkage. And we have this linkage here. And I think the best way to get that off is to take the carburetor off and rotate the carburetor to get that off of the... Oh, and we have... Let's see, let's move this up here for a moment. So I got the fuel line to disconnect, and I got a little plug. Got a little plug to put in the end of the fuel line to keep that from leaking. Here's the little plug that I'm using. There's a pair of pliers to move this. Clamp. There's a hose clamp on here. It's just a spring hose clamp. Okay. Alright, so we're going to lose a little bit of fuel when we disconnect this. I'm going to put some gloves on. I have a little cut on my finger, and gas will make that burn like crazy, so let me put a couple gloves on here. Alright, so here's my plug. Get that ready so I can shove it into there, into the fuel line. Okay, got that. Alright, so that stops that from leaking. Evaporate away, fuel. Alright, now then. Got these two bolts that have Torx fittings on them. Torque drive. So they're one on the right. You can't get to the one on the right with a socket wrench, even though the bolt has the capability of accepting a socket wrench. It won't fit. There's just not enough clearance. That's why I'm using the torque wrench. Torx wrench. Alright, so this bracket's gonna come loose. The old gasket is deteriorated off of there from me putting things together and taking things apart so many times. That's alright. New carburetor, new gasket. All that's getting replaced. Alright. Looks like that's free. Let's try not to lose too many parts here. So this bracket, it's got to go back on. There's also the red wire for the kill switches on this bolt on this side. Set the bolt to the side. Take this bolt off, set that to the side. Alright, then I rotate this to get it off of that rod. Alright. Well, at first glance, it looks like the new carburetor. So let's set that down for a second, get the new carburetor out. There's also a gasket up here I need to remove. So, I've had this carburetor off a number of times and tried to clean it, just with carburetor cleaner, taking things apart. So, gaskets, over time, coming in contact with the gasoline, cause this gasket to swell up. Gets bigger and larger in diameter, not the minor diameter, it's the overall diameter of the gasket. And in order to get it back on there and to stay in place, I cut it. I did that a number of times because first time I cut it, I bonded it together with super glue, which will work just fine. Second time I cut it a little bit short, and I couldn't find the super glue, but mainly I was just trying to see if it was the carburetor that was causing me the problems, and it seems like it was. So we took that chance that this O-ring gasket was not going to cause me major problems. In determining whether the carburetor was working, I would have replaced this. If the carburetor was working fine, I would have replaced the gasket. Alright, so here we are. I'm just checking to make sure there's no little particles left on in that seat area where the gasket goes. We got a new gasket. Got new gaskets for everywhere. Alright, see this carburetor did not have a gasket on the outside here. It was not ever there. And the O-ring was making the seal, and that's all that we needed to worry about, is that O-ring seal. So I'm not going to put a gasket back on that side. We'll put the gasket on this side where the air intake mechanism is, parts are. Alright, so that's the old carburetor. Let's see what the new carburetor looks like. Looks identical. Everything seems to be correct. Alright, so I'll set that one aside. I'll set that one down for a moment. Oh, the bowls are a little bit different. The new carburetor bowl on my left is a little bit deeper. Shouldn't matter, there's plenty of room for it. Just hold it up here for a second. Yeah, it looks, there's plenty of room. There's no problem with the bowl being deeper. Alright. Okay, so let's get the new gasket out. Set that in place. Sounds like they're doing a little work on the street down a ways. So I'm sorry about the jackhammer noise that's going on. Alright, here's the new gasket. So this fits in here. It's just a friction bolted in place. It's good. Alright, I'll get the bolts ready to go back on. Alright, so we have this red wire that needs to go back on this side. The bolt. Put the bolt on this side. we have this bracket to deal with. And we have this connecting rod to deal with. So let's hook that up. Is that where that was? Pretty sure that's where that was. No other holes available. Yeah, that's where that was. Let's get that. Seems a bit tighter than this hole. They look the same. Alright, let's take these bolts back off for a moment and see if we can get this on this rod. There it goes. Okay. So we got that back on the rod. Alright. Now we'll put the bolts back in. Not forgetting about the red wire. Back in on the other side. We got this little bracket to get back on here. This goes this way. There we go. Get my tool out here. Get this snugged up with the wire, with the wire nut, wire terminal in the right place. Seems to be good. Let's snug this side up. Okay. Put a little wrench action on it. Snug this side a little bit more. Check this side again. Alright, that looks good. Looks good there so far. Alright. Got these wires. Need to be positioned out of the way. And let me check my other camera. Hold on a minute. All right. Alright, so this is all snugged up here. Put this black wire behind this tube. This is carburetor air intake tube. Do I like where those wires are going to go? Do I want them out of the way? That, no, let me move this one back in front of this. Okay, let's put it like that. Alright. Okay, so we got this linkage to put on. Okay. We got this spring to put back on. Okay. I think that's good. All right, so we only got this one adjustment screw right here. It's an adjustment screw. That's not a port inside the carburetor. It doesn't adjust the flow of gas or air in the carburetor. It's just it adjusts a stopping point for this is connected to fuel flow port inside carburetor, and it stops it from going too far. And I think it looks like the setting for that is about the same. I'm going to accept that it's in the right spot. If it's not, we'll adjust it later on, but I'm going to accept that it's in the right spot. Okay. Alright, so everything here is connected. Alright, so it looks like we need to put the breather, air breather holder back on using this gasket. Looks like that's the way that goes. Goes on here. See, there's a couple plastic pins sticking out to hold this gasket. Three places here. Alright. That looks good. Before I put that back on, I'm going to put the fuel line back on. So let me put some gloves back on again. While I'm fooling with the fuel. The fuel happens to be gasoline. So pull my plug out, my cork stopper, connect the fuel line up. There we go. That stops the fuel from flowing. All right, now we need a pair of pliers to move the clamp. Almost got it. You know what? I got another pair of pliers here. These work a little bit better. Or should. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So let's get the fuel line connected now. Alright. Now we can put this back on. Get these bolts for that. And lined up. This one in. Tool here, so already set up. Alright, so we're up against plastic, so we're just kind of snugging these, not putting a whole heck of a lot of torque on them. Okay. Got this little tube to snap into place. That's snapped in. We got to check the the kill switch wires and hook up that little hose on the back. That's a pressure return from the motor. Everything seems to be out of the way. Okay. Alright, we're ready to put the top back on with the starter, pull starter cable. Alright, I think we're ready to give her a try and see if she'll start. Alright, I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, so I gave it a quick try, started it up. Then I hooked up the wand, the pressure hose, and the water hose, and got the wand hooked up here. And what I'm going to do is purge this hose to make sure there's water in the hose and in the pump. And then we'll give her a go. We'll give her a real try. Then I'll have to put all this stuff away because the camera's away, because I don't want anything to get wet. Alright, let's see what happens. Sounding pretty good. I think I can adjust it a little bit to make the motor run a little bit faster. I think it needs to run a little bit faster. Start it up. And when I tried it out, it started on the first pull, so that's excellent. It was the carburetor. It was a carburetor problem. Was a carburetor problem. Alright, so let me stop this and put the cameras away to keep them from getting wet. And I'll get to work doing some pressure washing now. Hey, thanks for watching my videos. Come back and see me at Doing Stuff with Larry. Remember to like my videos if you like them. Subscribe if you want to see more videos. Make comments if you like. I'll try to answer you back on comments. Try to keep your comments nice and don't give me a lot of crap, because nobody wants to hear all that. So, all right. Well, I definitely gotta stop making a mess. All right. Thanks for watching my videos.